How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, I'm going to conduct a really simple experiment just to try and find out the key attributes of a top goal scorer on Football Manager 2016. In order to do this, I have holidayed for a whole season, and I'm just going to take a look at the top goal scorers in the Premier League at the end of the first season. So we can see that there's kind of like some of the usual suspects who you would expect to be top goal scorers in the Premier League. The likes of Lukaku, Aguero, Harry Kane, Silva, Sanchez is up there. There's a few kind of surprise players, I guess. Maybe the likes of Diouf, Rondon, you probably wouldn't expect to get that many goals. Yeah, the rest I would say are pretty, you would expect them to be there. What I decided to do was just take the attributes from every single player. So I've basically got an Excel file and I've just made a list of basically every single attribute of the top 10 players. So I've gone from Romelu Lukaku right the way down to Alexis Sanchez. The idea is what I'll be basically doing is adding up all of their attributes by number, and then I'll be dividing it by 10, which is obviously 10 is the amount of players. I will show you my Excel file just in a little bit, but the results are quite interesting actually, and what I wanted to do was just obviously find out the top 5 attributes just for goal scorers on Football Manager 2016. Okay, so I've just decided to take a look at some of the stats for the players that managed to get into the top 10 goal scorers in the Premier League. So yeah, these are all the players here. Obviously Lukaku managed to get 25 goals in 37 games, and you can see all the others here. But there's some pretty interesting stats here. So in terms of total shots, Aguero had the most shots out of everyone in the Premier League with 159. You then had Harry Kane with 156 shots. Sanchez 155. The lowest of them all was David Silva with 75 shots, and he managed to get 18 goals, David Silva. So that's a pretty decent return from 75 shots. Out of the number of shots, there is a number of shots on target here, which Aguero again is top of that pile. Basically, he managed to get 89 shots on target. You then had Harry Kane, Romelu Lukaku. Rondon did actually do pretty well, to be honest. He managed to get 73 shots on target out of 133. Lowest of the lot again is David Silva. He had 39 shots on target, and he managed to get 18 goals. So he did really well, David Silva, in terms of his sort of, shots on target to goals ratio is actually really high. In terms of shots on target percentage ratio, the highest was Lukaku, and he managed to get 60% of his shots that he took on target, which is really high, I think. The lowest was actually Alexis Sanchez, who got 35%. Now, to me, that seems pretty low, to be honest. I know he did have a hell of a lot of shots, Alexis Sanchez. He had the third highest amount of shots out of all the players on this list, but potentially he was having quite a lot of long shots. It looks like if you can try and find some players who are managing to get over 50% of their shots on target, guys, that's a really good key stats attribute to look for in your players if you're looking for a goal scorer. In terms of shots per 90 minute, Aguero did have a hell of a lot of shots on target. He near enough, he had 4 shots per target. Yeah, like per 90 minutes, which is pretty high. The lowest again was David Silva, so we can see how well David Silva did actually do, with his 18 goals. I think that's pretty good, to be honest, considering he pretty much only had about 1.7 shots on target per 90 minutes. It looks again like kind of magic number. If you get anywhere 3 and over for shots per 90 minutes on target, then that's a really good sort of key stats to take a look for. In terms of shots on target per 90 minute, Lukaku did actually manage to get the highest out of all the players in the Premier League with 2.14 shots on target per 90 minutes, which is pretty high. That number kind of fluctuates. So the lowest being, Sanchez and Silva, they're sort of hovering towards the bottom of that. And in terms of goals per 90 minute, you've near enough got Lukaku, not too far off sort of a goal a game, nearly. He's on 0.7 overall, which is really high compared to the rest of the players. So, Lukaku, he actually started 37 games this season. You've got the likes of Aguero, who started about 11 games more than Lukaku. If Lukaku had kept, played as many games as Aguero throughout the whole season, I would have been in no doubt at all that Lukaku probably would have got into about 30 goals for the whole season. So in a second, we will take a look at the attributes and the top 5 key attributes that I managed to find just during this little experiment. I've decided to just add on the personality attributes here for the players. So we can see that a lot of the attributes, I'm going to sort it by goals scored. So Lukaku's got a professional personality. We've got ambitious for Aguero, fairly ambitious for Rondon. Diouf's got ambitious as well. So it seems the ambitious attribute is quite a good ambitious personality is quite a decent one to have for goal scorers. Potentially ambitious players are obviously looking to just do really, really well for themselves. I just wanted to have a real quick look, actually, just see if there's any correlation just between the the personality type of a player and maybe like the type of shots that they're having. Doesn't seem to be anything. I mean, maybe shots on target per 90 minutes. You've got Diouf, Rondon and Aguero, they're the ones with the ambitious personalities, and they do seem to take a lot of shots on target per 90 minutes. Yeah, shots on target as well. So you've got Aguero, who's ambitious. He's taken the most shots on target per 90 minutes. Rondon as well. Yeah, not too much to take a look at there. So one last thing that I just wanted to take a real quick look at is if there's any preferred moves maybe that you should be looking for when trying to find a goal scorer on Football Manager 2016. So what I've decided to do here is just go to General. I've clicked on preferred moves, and what I'm just looking for is just to try and see what type of preferred moves our players have that are in this top 10 list. So attempts overhead kicks, that's in Rondon and Diouf. Avoids using their weaker feet, that's with Sanchez and Da Silva. Comes deep to get ball, you got the likes of Aguero and Mata doing that. What other ones we got here? Cuts in from the left wing, that's with Sanchez. Gets into opposition area, that's one that Mata's got. Knocks the ball past the opponent. Obviously that's really, really good for players where they've got a lot of pace. So yeah, Rondon and Callum Wilson are actually pretty fast players. Pretty certain Rondon's not too fast, but Callum Wilson's got acceleration of 17 and pace 17 as well. Next, around the keeper, you've got that for Wilson and Diouf. What other ones you've got here? So yeah, moves into the channels, that's for Sanchez and Da Silva. Places shots, Sergio Aguero has got that one. The shoots with power attribute, out of 10 of the players, 4 of them have got the preferred move of shoots with power. So potentially, at the end of this video, I am just going to look for other players just to see if there's any that we can find basically with having this type of preferred move, just to sort of see if it is quite, often found in players that do score a lot of goals. What we'll do now, guys, we'll just have a real quick look at the Excel sheet that I made, just so that we can have a quick look at the top 5 attributes for goal scorers on Football Manager 2016. Okay then, guys, so we're just going to have a real quick look at this Excel file that I decided to make. As I said earlier, what I decided to do was just take the attributes of all the 10 players, just lay them literally across the top of the screen, as you can see. So just taking the corner attribute, for example, every single corner attribute from every single player is right across the top of the screen. And then right at the end in the yellow column, that's pretty much where I added up all the totals and then divided it by 10, which of course is the amount of players that we're taking a look at here. So based upon the results of the experiment, the top 5 key attributes that I have managed to find doing this experiment are technique, decision making, off the ball, acceleration and randomly balance was in the top 5 attributes based upon this little experiment that I did do. The likes of finishing and first touch and dribbling were also pretty high in the list. You had anticipation, which was really high in the list as well. Work rate as well was high. Agility, natural fitness and stamina were also pretty high, but these were the top 5 attributes based upon this experiment. So what I'm going to do here, guys, I've just added in the goals column here, and what I just want to basically just take a look at is if I just keep up in the attributes here of all these players, you can see when I just set it to 10 for every single one of these attributes, I managed to find 3,619 players. So I'm just going to keep going on this just until it gets down to quite a small number here. So If we narrow it down to say about 14 basically for each of them key attributes, you can see there's some really top quality players obviously with these sort of key attributes. And if we sort it by the amount of goals that they scored, you can see that there's some pretty decent players here. So the likes of Roland, Messi, Suarez, Martinez, Higuain, yeah, James Rodriguez, Lewandowski, obviously Sanchez is in there, but you can see a lot of these players, even just with these kind of 5 attributes being over 14, they have actually managed to score quite a lot of goals. You know, we're near enough halfway at the list, and most of the players have scored about 15 goals and over throughout the whole season. So it does look to be quite a good indicator, I would say, roughly of the amount of goals that you can, you know, sort of seem to get for, you know, kind of players and things like that. What I'm quite interested on doing actually is just adding in the finishing attribute, just to sort of see if that makes any difference at all to our list. So I've added in the finishing attribute as well, and yeah, we've got 32 players found here. So looking at the bottom of the list, there's a few players that have not particularly played too many games. This guy here managed to get 4 goals in 12 games, well, 12 Premier League starts for Manchester United, but it looks like he was mostly played as a winger. I just want to actually have a look. So this guy here is an attacking midfielder on the right hand side. He's not particularly scored too many goals. He's managed to get 2 goals in 30 games. But yeah, looking at these attributes, they do look to produce quite a lot of, you know, kind of good goal scorers. You know, there's the odd one that doesn't really make too much sense at the bottom of the list, but certainly as you kind of go up through the list, there's a head of a lot of players, especially with like 20 goals and over, which is actually quite encouraging. So we also did find that the preferred move of shoots with power was quite a popular one with our players that we just had a real quick look at. So looks like, you know, narrowing down this to 13 with all our key attributes at 13, the shoots with power attribute does seem to produce quite a few good goal scorers on the list. So yeah, out of these 19 players, it does look like quite a few of them have managed to score quite a few goals, which is quite good. Just sort of going through as well, so I wonder if there's any other sort of preferred moves that do seem to kick up quite a lot of decent goal scorers. So the comes deep to get ball, that seems to have quite a few players that are, you know, getting amongst the goals as well. Cuts inside from the right wing, that's quite a good one. Yeah, knocks ball past opponent as well, that looks to be pretty decent as well, as long with these other attributes. Plays 1-2s is always, so the plays 1-2s preferred move is actually a real favourite of mine, guys. So yeah, I really do like this one here. Yeah, it does seem to produce quite a lot of good goal scorers. Whenever I've managed to find players with that preferred move, plays 1-2, it does certainly seem to chuck up quite a lot of good goal scorers. So runs with the ball often looks to be a pretty decent one as well. And that's about it really. But yeah, it's quite an interesting experiment, guys, basically. So if you ever are looking for a goal scorer on Football Manager, it could certainly be quite a good idea just to try and, you know, set these attributes up. And yeah, just sort of see what players basically get chucked up, because certainly in the Premier League, you know, these are the players that were scoring a lot of goals, and it does certainly seem to look like, you know, players with these kind of key attributes do tend to score a lot of goals. So yeah, with technique, decisions off the ball, acceleration, balance, and finishing, all of 15, these players, obviously you've got the likes of Tevez, Sanchez, Lewandowski, you know, Suarez, Messi, etc. They're all players who do score a lot of goals. So obviously, if you can try and look to find some players with some of these key technical attributes, then, you know, you should hopefully be able to find a goal scorer. Yeah, this is just a kind of random little experiment that I decided to do. If you've got any comments on this experiment or anything you would like to see, please do ask me in the comments manager below. And yeah, do like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back very soon for some more Football Manager videos. Thanks for watching.